All right, what's going on, everybody? Today I have a very interesting topic to discuss with you guys. That is going to be the best players at every single age group in Blue Lock. I actually had fun researching this video. I didn't quite know the ages of every single player that I mentioned in this video, so a couple things surprised me, and I'm sure that it'll surprise you too. Really quick before we get into the video though, I just wanted to give myself a shameless plug. Sorry about that, guys. If you want to support the channel or just join the growing community that we have going on here, please consider joining up on the Discord. I'll leave a link down below in the description, as well as considering becoming a channel member here on the YouTube. Yeah, that's right, guys. We finally have channel members. Woo! You got special perks, links to my videos, streams, and hell, even my private Discord. So if you're interested in any of that, I'd highly appreciate the support. And with that said, let's get straight into the video. Okay, so it's been a little while since I've done one of these breakdowns where I kind of just sit down and talk face to face with you guys about what I believe the current state of Blue Lock is. And right now, with the introduction of Charles Chevalier, the youngest player that we've seen in the series thus far, there's something that I really need to discuss. And it's kind of an interesting topic that can be left up for discussion if you really want to at the end of the day. That, my friends, is going to be the topic of the best Blue Lock players at every single age group. As we all know, our Blue Lockers in the Neo Egoist League do play in the under 20 age group, meaning anyone under the age of 20 is able to play. This obviously comes with some caveats because you're not going to see 7, 8, and 9-year-olds playing with basically grown men at this point. However, you can't say that age is everything because, as we've seen thus far, it's kind of just the number in the case of some of these players. Anyways, we got 5 specific age groups that we have to discuss today, that being 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19-year-olds. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy, and let's get straight into it, everybody. Okay, so in the case of 15-year-olds, we only actually have 2 people up for debate here. Icky Nico being the first. He, for the longest time, was the youngest Blue Locker that we knew of, until the second member of this 15-year-old age bracket just got introduced, that being Charles Chevalier. The 15-year-old child prodigy, the heart of PXG, and Loki's key to securing the #1 spot in the world. Charles, at least up to this point in the manga, with the 2 or 3 chapters or so that we've actually seen of him, has been hyped up to no end. Like, we knew that there was going to be some sort of a trump card on PXG's team. Having Rin and Shido in and of itself is going to be dominant, but we knew that there was something else that was going to set them both on a pathway to victory, greater victory than we already knew that they were destined for. And obviously, Charles is that piece. Charles has a purpose in the Neo Egoist League, same with Loki. It's to nurture Charles so that his passes are going to be good enough to where Loki will then become the best player in the world. He wouldn't be bestowing such a heavy burden on someone so young if their abilities didn't match up to what he believes the world's #1 needs in a primary passer. So due to those reasons, I would find it safe to say that Charles is the best 15-year-old, at least that we know of in the current state of Blue Lock so far. Moving on now to the 16-year-olds, we have 3 notable players that I need to mention. And as far as the 2 honorable mentions go, it's going to be Yo Hiyori and Shigiri Hyoma. Hiyori, especially in the last match, seriously leveled up to a level that puts him on par with the top tier Blue Lockers. And amongst those top tier Blue Lockers, he finds his other honorable mention in the 16-year-old age group, Shigiri Hyoma, the Red Panther who is single-handedly carrying Manshine on his back, even though they're kind of still getting shit stomped. However, forget about any of those level ups because none of that matters in the face of our #1 16-year-old player, of course, Atoshi Rin. I think this is pretty obvious. Most of you guys know Rin's a younger player, and he's definitely the best as far as the younger players that we know, especially now that we know Charles' existence as well as just his overall dominance in the PXG system. It's safe to say that nobody comes close to Rin in the 16-year-old age group, even though Shigiri and Hiyori are very, very impressive in their own right. Moving on, 17-year-olds. This one is probably the most stacked up of the age groups, even though it's definitely the most one-sided for who the #1 player is. Like I said, you have the most depth here. Isagi Yoichi, our main character, he falls in this place. Gagamaru, Bachira, Ryo, Kunigami, Nagi. The list goes on and on and on. However, you can't talk about any of those Blue Lockers when you're talking about the best 17-year-old player in the franchise, because the best 17-year-old player in the franchise is a master striker hailing from France by the name of Julian Loki. Yes, it is no secret at this point that Julian Loki has got to be one of the strongest players in the entirety of the series, at least that we've seen so far, and I can predict that he's probably going to be one of the stronger ones towards the end of the series as well. Managing to garner the level of respect as far as becoming a master striker at such a young age, the youngest rising rising superstar in the entirety of the world and seen as the best youth striker on the planet, yeah, you really can't level the Blue Lockers up to Julian Loki, so I think it's safe to say that he's the best 17-year-old we've seen. Next up, coming into the 18-year-olds, this one gets a little bit spicier because you can kind of argue with feats for it being somebody else other than who I've selected, even though I feel like my selection's pretty concrete. I wanted to mention Yuki Miya in this because there weren't too many 18-year-olds to choose from. He was one of the few selections and I really don't shout him out enough, so shout out Yuki, you get a little bit of a call here, but it doesn't really matter because the other two are the only ones you can truly argue for, that being Baro Shohei and Shido Ryusei. Baro and Shido both probably the two most impressive strikers that we've seen come out of Blue Lock specifically, and it's going to remain that way to the end of the series. They're two mainstay characters, two of the most fan favorite characters, and either of them could make a case for being the best 18-year-old player in the world, if not for Itoshi Sai. Like I said, you can argue Baro or Shido based on feats. Not really Shido based on feats, but kind of Baro at this point. His goal scoring has been really dominant. But truly, I don't feel comfortable putting any of them above Sai. That's just me, though. New Gen 11's a New Gen 11 at the end of the day, so they kind of have to bow down. And finally, moving on to the 19-year-olds. So this one's kind of made up in speculation because we don't know their ages for sure. For the most part, the only confirmed 19-year-old I have is Oliver Aiku. So if I was wrong about my other two selections, then my bad, I was wrong. Aiku's going to be the number one 19-year-old, but for my two, I kind of have a shared position for this one because you can put it however you want. That is going to be Don Lorenzo and Michael Kaiser. Now, the reason I didn't go in depth with this one and left it as a tie is because I do have a breakdown of who I believe is truly stronger on the way in a longer length video. I do think it's something that needs to be discussed in depth because no one really understands that matchup truthfully for what it is, so I kind of need to be the one to explain it to you guys properly, like I tend to do on this channel. Okay, I think that's gonna do it for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, I really do appreciate it. If you went on to enjoy, please make sure you leave a like and consider subbing up to the channel, post notifications turned on so you never miss another video from myself. And as always, I love you guys. Take it easy.